everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Soulful Eclectic. I am your host, Dr. Dianna Collins, and I want to welcome you to today's episode. If this is the first time you are joining us, well, what you've been waiting for, welcome. Thank you for taking the time out for joining us. I appreciate you so much for taking the time out. If you are returning, well, welcome back, and thank you for taking the time out to come back, listen to see what we have to talk about. And I hope everyone is sharing the information and everything that we have that is either for you or for someone else that you know. Last week, we talked about health and maintaining our health and staying on schedule with our health. And, because it's mind, body, and soul. If we don't take care of the body, the mind is going to go. And if we don't take care of the mind, the body's going to go. They all work in conjunction with one another. And so the last 2 weeks, conversation was really geared about taking care of yourself and staying on top of your health and advocating for yourself and things that you need from your providers. And if they're not getting the things that you need and getting things done and answering your questions and getting the tests that you requested, then by all means change doctors. And it doesn't matter how long you've been with them, it's time to change things up, and that's okay. So I hope it was helpful. I got a lot of good questions from that. So thank you to everyone who reached out and had some follow-up questions. And I hope the information I shared with you was very helpful. So I appreciate you and your time. So thank you. So my sponsors, because I got to give them love. Thank you to Divine Nubian Essentials for all that you do for us in the community. And you keep my hair looking just absolutely fabulous. And my skin, oh my God, loving the skin that I'm in. So it's for everybody. If you got skin, then you're in. There's no discrimination, sex, color, you got it. We got it for you. And also Collins Education Resource Management. Well, healthcare is our main initiative in educating not only the students in academia, but also in the community. So if there is a healthcare need that you feel that you can address or want to have addressed within your community, feel free to reach out to Collins Education Resource Management. They are more than helpful in coming to churches, community centers, schools, and whatever to teach what we need. Because as you guys are all aware, things are changing in healthcare rapidly with the new administration. And as I always point out, I don't get political, because this is not what my party is about. But unfortunately, the things that are happening politically do affect us in healthcare. And so I do need to talk about those things, because as a nurse practitioner, even though there are a lot of things that are changing that we have to cut from there, we have to remember as healthcare practitioners, that does not mean us. We're taking care of human beings, no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like. And no matter what language you speak. And that's where that goes. So I'm going to get off that soapbox, because that's a big soapbox for me. And y'all know that. But today, we're going to talk about everything hair. So I'm going to keep going on the healthcare train and, mental health, physical health. And this weekend, we had a lovely art show at Melvira's with the lovely Dianna D, your favorite stylist, who is absolutely fabulous, because she is my stylist. Yes, she did this. Okay, I curled it, but yeah, she tightened it up for me. She did the hard work. I did the easy work, right? So we're gonna definitely dive into all things hair. We talked about some hair. We had some beautiful art from some hair, and I'll post that on our site so that you guys can see that for that event as well. But I'm gonna welcome my stylist with the most, she's got my heart. And here she is, Miss D, your favorite stylist. How are you? Oh my gosh.
Good. How are you?
I'm amazing. We just came off of this great event at your place, and it's just great that this is like a nice follow-up, after the event. So we timed it perfectly. How about that? Without us even knowing it. We timed it perfectly.
Right.
Because I was going to have you on the show anyway, and it just so happens it just followed this way, and it's divine. Everything is in divine,
Yes.
order, right?
I
So
agree.
Yeah. So thank you so much. He's here in Tucson, and I found you because I was at another event. I forget what it was. It was
The
Trehan does it.
connections that count. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And you were pregnant with little mama.
Hmm.
Yes. And I before that, guys, I'm going to talk about my hair. Yes, I am. It's 6 years yesterday that I started these locks, and this journey led me to meeting Dee because I was traveling 2 hours to go get my locks done every 5 to 6 weeks. That's not even an exaggeration. It was either, depending on traffic, 2 hours or hour and 45 minutes to go get my hair done with Michelle, who, again, another great sister lock stylist. And she saved my hair, to be honest. When I first got my hair done in locks, it was April 2019, and I had a big event. The person who started them was no longer doing them. She had taken a break and went to do some other things. You know, life happens. So I was kind of in limbo trying to find someone who actually did sister locks. So I met this gentleman who I was on a runway show with him, and he was doing it was locked on the runway, and he was one of the lock stylists on the runway show. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try him and see how it goes, because he said I do sister locks, I do locks. Now, mind you, that I'm was new to all of this, so I was not aware of all the certifications and things that needed to happen. I didn't learn that until after he messed up my hair. So he locked a good 30 of them in the back and a few of them in the front, like palm rolled them together and gelled them and locked them together with the, and I couldn't even like run my fingers like I can here. I couldn't do that. And when I tell you, I've never cried so much about my hair. Not since I
Oh,
was a teenager. I cried. I was in the car. My husband was so ready to come over and just like, just land into him. And I was like, no, I have to go to this event. I literally had to go to LA for another event. And I was like, I can't. So it was presentable that no one knew the trauma that was in the midst of it. So I was able to go and do, my show and do everything I needed to do and come back. But I tell you, my mission was to find someone to fix my hair. That was it. So when I found Shella in Mesa, she was certified. People talked about her in the what is that, the beauty supply store and things like that. So I was like, okay, good. It took her 3 sessions, Dee, to undo the damage that he did to my hair.
mm.
And with each one, she said, I'm so sorry he did this to your hair. I'm so sorry. Because she knew what, and it's like the middle was really short, and it was already short. It was about 3 inches, 3 to 4 inches. So the middle was just, because some of them she had to cut and redo, and so your face is what her face was when she was, you know,
Yee.
doing it. So for up until I met you a year ago, I was doing that drive from Tucson because I refused to have someone else tell me they can do my hair and then mess it up. So when I saw
Yeah.
you and I said, okay, you have the same sister locks I have. Okay, I'm going to give her a shot. And my husband was like, you sure? And I was like, yes, I'm going to make an appointment. And then you told me we're going out on maternity leave. And I was like, dang it. Okay.
Oh yeah, I was about to have the baby.
We're about to have a baby. So I held on to your card. I did. And I was like, I'm going to call her. It was sitting on my desk. And I did. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give you a shot.
And you did. And how have I done so far?
Absolutely amazing. I mean, you see my hair. I put some
Yeah.
rods in it and had my Shirley Temple curls and let them out. Here I am today.
Okay. I'm glad I was able to help. Not in defense of that young man, but I messed up. I've been certified. Let me lead with this. I've been certified to do sister locks since 2014, and I was the first person to ever become certified to do sister locks in the city of Tucson, Arizona. So I had the honor of bringing it here, but I've messed up ahead of sister locks. Because in beauty school, depending on what beauty school you go to,
Right.
um, people have this idea of, oh, sister locks is just interlocking, and it's just this. That's easy. People are already doing that. But then when you haven't had your mind set for like 400 to 500 locks and you get up in people's heads, it's really easy to get overwhelmed and to think these are too small, they're gonna pop, and then put them together. So I can honestly say I've done someone's head like that before. I got certified for sister locks. It was like 2010, 2011. I met a young lady. She came to the salon that I worked at, and she said, "Do you know how to do sister locks?" And me coming from the beauty school I came from, they had us thinking we know how to do all of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, I got that." And I did lock some of her locks together. And then when I went to go take the sister locks class, I said, "Oh, okay." you know,
Right.
so it's a lot. So I'm sorry he did that to your hair too, because it sounds like he just did palm rolling though, so she was able to pull them apart easily.
For some of them he palm rolled and then locked them around with a
Ah,
crochet needle. So she had to cut some of them to do that.
ooh.
Yeah. So because I thought it was palm rolled too, so I was trying to unloosen them as soon as I got home. I tried to take them out and I couldn't without, and I was like, oh man, he locked those in there.
I wish that more stylists would be transparent and value consultation instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know how to do that." And like I said, I had to get there too.
Right.
I was a new stylist coming up and had to really be humbled and have open communication with people and say, "Hey, Diane, this is how I do it. I'm gonna take this lock and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that." And although you weren't aware, I think you was aware enough. You would have been able to say, don't do that on my hair.
Right.
you know and so we as a people, we got to do better with communication, as like the Black culture of hair and things like that, because
Yeah.
these ain't my story was one, your story is another. There's a lot of other stories of people with small interlocks or sister locks, and people just don't have the patience with them, and they will
Mm-hmm.
lock your locks together. They will sew your locks together and all types of stuff. I've heard a lot of horror stories. So I'm happy and honored to be doing them correctly now and spreading the word and educating people on how to properly do them. And I believe transparency is the best. So
It really is. And I think if he would have just was okay, just, I think one, like you said, he didn't realize how much hair I have because I do have a lot of hair. And he didn't realize how much hair and how much time. So he didn't allot his time properly. And I think he was really trying to rush through doing it. So yeah, transparency is definitely key in all that. And people don't realize your hair, so much of us is through our hair is our identity. I know
yes.
India Irie, I am not my hair, right? She had that whole
Yes.
song, I am not my hair. But I think we, to some extent, we are intertwined with our hair because it's the first thing most people see. It's what grabs people. It's part of our identity, no matter if you shave it all off, if you have half shave, if you have locks, if you have whatever, it's part of your identity. And we take pride in that as a people. We take pride in our hair, and
Yes,
it's not easy. And I love that we were talking about all things hair, because it made me think about not only my lock journey, because it took me a while to get to that, but also just the journey of your hair in general. We were never taught to be prideful of our hair. At least I wasn't. It was
yeah,
always a relaxer, or your hair was too coarse or nappy or kinky, right? That was a big thing, especially for me, because see my hair. You've been in my hair. A natural state of my hair without locks is a huge afro, and it's thick and it's coarse, and it takes some work. When I was natural, it was just like it took effort and time, and there was no pride growing up with my hair. I grew up doing hair on the stoop in Brooklyn with the neighborhood kids braiding cornrolling the kids' hair, at 10.
yeah.
So that's how I learned. And I taught my daughters how to do their hair and love their hair, but I didn't have love for my hair.
Mm, mm.
I didn't.
Wow.
It
I
was
can
just
hear.
it was not it was more of a disdainment, to the point where
Mm,
I told my kids this. I purposefully did not want to have children with someone of African descent, because I didn't want them to have the same struggles I had with my hair. And growing
wow.
up, I noticed if you were mixed, your hair was a little bit more manageable.
Right. A lot more in many
A
cases.
lot more in many cases, right? Depending on
Yeah,
who you mix with, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So my
Wow. That,
yes,
ooh,
right?
that's a lot. That's a lot. But it is something that does plague Black culture. Um, and a lot of it is not even hair maintenance. Sometimes it was survival, right? The light skinned
Mhm.
children got treated better. The light skinned girls got chose, uh, to be, for people to like them, as far as young men in the opposite sex, as well
Yeah,
as for friends with the other girls, because all the girls want to be
absolutely.
friends with the pretty girl. Just, how kids and immature people think when we don't value ourselves, right? Um, I would say I went through the same thing. I could say that it reflected in my dating. I was attracted to
Mhm.
the light skinned guys,
Mhm.
um, and I had some hair struggles as well. I would say it started with my mom,
Mm.
because she didn't know what to do with my hair. My mom was just as fair skinned as I am, beautiful Black woman, but she had the good hair.
Ah.
So she had the good hair. My mom had the hair you could wet it, and she would put some gel in it and it would curl up all nice and pretty. She was a Black woman with good hair. I don't know where she got it from. Um, but her children did not inherit that.
Mhm.
And so she didn't know what to do with my hair. And just to get into my hair journey a little bit, it went from, being born and my mom laying in her lap and doing the hair braids and things like that, then to her and my father getting a divorce and her being less focused on braiding and her hands starting to hurt. So she stopped braiding as much. Then I rocked a little short afro for a while because she put a jerry curl in it. But then I got peaked on because of the jerry curl, because it's the early 90s and it's phasing out. And so I'm
Mhm.
like, Mom, I don't want this no more. Everybody's picking on me, calling me Jerry Curl Juice. And then it went from that to the short afro. And then she's like, well, you didn't want the Jerry curl, so you don't have what's left when we take the Jerry curl out. Then we went
Right.
from that to moving with my dad and my stepmom, and they got me hair braids. And then that got me into learning how to braid, learning how to weave, and eventually learning how to do locks and things like that. So our journeys are unfortunate, but for me, I think it was good that I experienced those things because it made me that much more passionate about taking care of our hair.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize the struggle that we really go through with our hair. I burned my hair out. I found this old relaxer because my mom would not let me get a relaxer in my hair, and I was in high school, and my grandmother had half a relaxer left in our house, and I don't even know how long she had that dark and lovely hanging out,
Wow.
in there. And I did. I fried my hair and my scalp quite a few times to kind of make it manageable for me, because my mom wasn't taking me to the hair salon. I was going, it was probably the early 80s, 90s, early 90s. Yeah, because I graduated in 93. So, yeah, so it was the early 90s. And so getting your hair braided outside with the Africans doing your hair, that wasn't a thing for me. Um, it wasn't something my mother was going to pay for me.
Okay.
So it was just like, no. So it's whatever I could do with it. And that was it. Once in a while, she'll hot comb it, right? The hot comb. I'll get a hot comb, run through it every now and again. And I actually have a burn on my arm from the hot comb. My mom dropped it by accident. Her hands were greasy from the hair grease, and she dropped it on my arm. So I actually have a burn from the teeth from the hot comb on my arm. Yeah.
Whew. You got a war wound.
I have some real war wounds, okay? Burning the tips of my ears because I got a little bit of, Spock ear going on there. So burning the tips of my ears every now and again.
I look down upon Black mothers that tell us, well, you're old enough now, you got to do it. And it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? You don't even know what to do with it.
I'm telling you, how many combs my mother broke trying to comb my hair after a good wash. It's like, yeah, so we're left to our own vices with our hair at a certain age. And
we're not properly taught. We're not properly taught because they don't know or have the patience. And then they came out of the era of having it pressed or the jerry curl or, the fro. And so they're a part of those generations that were still trying to figure it out. And then they get to us, the 70s and the 80s babies, and they like, look, y'all, I'm done. I don't have to figure this out. And we like, what?
How did this happen? We don't know,
Yes,
burning our hair out.
So many stories.
It's just people don't realize the struggle that it really was. And it's nice to see us getting back to that. And I love that we have natural stylists like you that we can go to that's not only taking care of our hair, but teaching us about our hair, teaching us how to take care of our hair, which is why I came up with, Divine Nubian Essentials, because there weren't hair care products that didn't have tons and tons of chemicals and alcohol and all these things that's just tearing down the hair. So we have to create it, right? And I know you created something too for the hair.
I did. I created one product. I call it Dream Juice. It was created during COVID. Now I call it Dream Juice.
Name, Dream Juice.
People always in business say, you want the title of whatever you're doing to advertise and kind of introduce people to whatever it is that you're doing. My title, the name of it has nothing to do with hair, but I did dream of the ingredients, and I like to believe that God gave me the ingredients for it. and I took them and I put them together and kind of played around with them a little bit, and it sells. It sells. So I call it Dream Juice. I created it and needed to create it because there was a demand for it, because during COVID, Sister Locks was not able to keep up with the cases of their herbal moisturizer, and people were spraying it on their hair on a regular basis. And so as quick as I would order it, it would sell, because people from other places started coming to purchase it from me because I was keeping it stocked up. But, who knows why? It was a lot going on during COVID. And so I needed a daily refresher moisturizer type product from my clients. And that's how that was birthed. And it does pretty good. I'd like to one day do a full product line, but one product at a time is okay with me.
Yeah, full product line is a tough one.
I wouldn't be here doing hair anymore.
No. I mean, it's manageable, but again, it's tough to keep up with, in honesty. So I like that. I call mine wake up care, because it's the first thing I grab, and I just shake it, and I shake it in my hair, and it wakes up my hair for the day. It's like, all right, now let's go.
Yeah.
It's like, it just wakes it up. I like that. I love that. Yeah, you got the dream and I got the wake up.
I think that when you're selling products or a service, you're selling you, and your personality. And so if you like calling it a wake up, this is your wake up, get up and wake up, that rings a bell, and it's like, all right, I'm up. Let me get my products and get them together, or Yes. And so I think it goes hand in hand, and I think that's a great name for your product.
Yeah, I have that one. Is not one that is on the site yet, but it's one I sell locally to people who ask. But yeah, I don't sell that one too much yet.
Okay. Not yet. I like that. Speak it into existence.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know what? It's hard because we have so many things that are a part of us, and it's hard to really narrow it down. I know you're doing many things in the community as well. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing out there in the community, ma'am.
All right. Well, I'm doing a better job at being a little more balanced in all that I do now that I'm a mother of 2 children, whom are my blessings from God. I really love those 2 little chocolate babies.
They are adorable.
Thank you. So, of course, like I just said, I am the mother of Michael Jr. and Dianna. She's named after her mom. Spent a lot of my time with them. And I'm also the owner of Melvira's Hair Studio, located in Tucson, Arizona, close to Broadway and Cove, where we've been valuing your time since 2013. And I say valuing your time because within the hair industry and or culture, hairstylists just don't value people's time. We could say it without saying it, or don't say it and say it. It's the truth. People just do not respect your time. They invite you into their environment to spend your green dollars. And when you come to the front door, they don't even say, hello, welcome, come on in, let me get your money, nothing, And so the name Melvira is my mother's name, and she passed away in 2012. I opened the business in 2013 because I was about to go home back to South Carolina, but I didn't want to go back home in hopes of my family coddling me emotionally the way that they did when my mom passed away. And I didn't want to fool myself and get back home and it be something different. So I said, you know what, I'm going to open up a salon. And I had an opportunity at the Solar Salon to open up a studio. And I said, if they have the same opportunity back home in either Conway or Myrtle Beach, then I'm going to go back home and I'll figure out the emotional stuff later. Because I wasn't making friends in Tucson well or easily, And so I was like, I'm going home. I don't have no friends. So When my mom passed away, I was also in the process of adopting a child. I feel like God used that situation to prepare me and my home for the transition of my mom. So, long story short, they didn't have that opportunity in Myrtle Beach or Conway. So I said, well, the opportunity's here. I'm just going to go ahead and stay here. It's probably not a good idea to go back home anyway. And out of the death of my mother, I already wanted to open up a salon. But out of her death came the birth of Melvira's Hair Studio. I did a little studying on her name and learned that it meant to be responsible in business affairs and a pillar in the community. And at the
Mm.
same time, I get to honor my mother's name and keep her name alive so that my children and everybody around me know who she is. And so that's where the name came from. And I am the owner of that successful salon where the foundation of our success is based on natural hair and locks and things like that. But we do a little bit of everything. But because that was my foundational clientele when I came to Tucson, that's the meat and potatoes of our clientele is natural hair and locks, sister locks and things like that. We do some full body waxing. We do still relax. But because of our educated stance on the integrity of natural hair, I think that it makes us better and safer hair relaxers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's Melvira's Hair Studio. I'm also an educator. I use my salon as a hub for education. I used to do it more often. I created a class called MHS Lock Certification, where I would spend an intense 4 days with people and teach them everything that I knew about traditional locks, getting them started, how to predict what size the locks are going to be, and how to troubleshoot what is wrong with the locks, lock repair, lock maintenance, clip placement, all types of stuff. But I have since then backed off of doing that as often after I became a mother. But I do smaller workshops now. And I like to try to keep education going. So even if I can't do a workshop every other month doing some type of teaching, because it also helps me to attract in students and hairstylists that may want to come in and work and rent a booth. Um, so I do that, and I also invite other people from the community to come in and teach. So I brought in other hairstylists to come in. We had a lady from Sierra Vista come in and teach us how to do her version of the hair silkening. We had
Oh,
another lady come in and teach us how she does a sew-in weave. And then because I am a booth rental salon, it's not like I have employees and I'm like, these are the things that I need you to check off and to do. It don't work like that. I rent you a booth and you do what you do. But in the same sense, I like to encourage them to do continuing education so that I can make sure that I'm choosing the best hairstylists that have the same morals and values as me. So it at least appears like we are working together, and making sure we're taking care of people's hair. I'm a singer songwriter. Whenever I'm singing, I go by Mika Love. I started off singing with Jacques Taylor and the Real Deal Band. R.I.P. to Jacques Taylor. He's an awesome guy, and he's kind of well known here in the gigging community, as I call it. I don't sing in the streets as much. Now I'm doing it for my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ primarily. And my next singing event is going to be January the 19th, and it'll actually be hosted at the salon. Every year, I honor myself with a birthday concert. And I started doing it a few years ago. I did my first one, and it was great. We did it at the Dunbar. The theme was all yellow, and I had everybody wear all yellow because that's my happy color. That's my favorite color. This year's theme is going to be light blue because clear blue skies are in my life now. God has restored some things and reconciled my heart, my self ambition, and my self esteem. Going through relationship issues and things like that. I kind of lost sight of some things. And going through pregnancy, just hit some real milestones in life. And so this year's birthday is going to be about clear skies and the renewing of my self-esteem and my self-ambition and my love for the Lord, because it's good that I was afflicted because it brought me closer to the Lord. And I'm going to celebrate that on my birthday because God is good. So my birthday this year going to be about me and Jesus. So you guys are welcome to come. And I'll also be singing if we rewind it back, that's July 19th. June 14th, I'll be singing at the Gospel Jubilee. I have a little 15-minute segment. So we're going to praise the Lord there. And music is music. Good music is good music, whether it be gospel, whether it be rock and roll, whether it be folk, whether it be, jazz, whether it be the blues. Good music is good music, and if we just happen to be praising the Lord, we're going to get a double whammy. Okay?
Yep.
So, as far as my hair salon, June 1st, we'll be having a beauty career fair. It is my goal to invite other beauty professionals. So I've been studying on how to hire, and I haven't quite been successful at it. My most successful people that have stuck with me the longest, I didn't have to look for them. They came to me, right? But I've got a couple of booths that I need to fill. I want to have a nail tech. We have an esthetician area, and we have 2 booths that I'm looking to get filled. And I want the cream of the crop. And in taking a few business classes, I've learned in order to get the cream of the crop that floats to the top, you got to invite the whole crop. And then you got to take down the weed through them. So what I'm attempting to do is a beauty fair at the salon. And I've got to work together with other people. I don't have enough manpower to invite a lot of people from the beauty industry. And then I know everybody won't be a good fit for me. So I figured, why not have a masseuse salon? I don't know if they would call it a massage salon owner come. Why not have an eyelash technician owner come? Why not have makeup, guru come, and those different types of facets of the industry. And so they would be hiring, and then I would be hiring for the beauty professionals that I'm looking for, and we wouldn't bump heads, I would imagine. This is going to be my first time doing it. I've never seen anything like it. But I think that even if I don't get in hiree that day, it'll build some great connections.
Yes.
And maybe I'll learn from it, and maybe the next way figure it out, or I don't know. I'm just trying something new, because just posting on Facebook and word of mouth, it has worked, but I really need to work on that as if it's a full-time job to get what I'm looking for, which is reliable, responsible, professional. And you don't have to have the skill set, but you got to have a mind to learn a good skill set on something. So, and outside of those things, I am a self-care indulgist.
All right.
If that is indulgent is a word, I have my phone here, like, is indulgent or indulger, or
we're going to claim it as a word.
Yes, I'm a self-care indulgist. So what does that mean to me? That means less social media, because I'm inclined to compare and contrast my life to other people. It means spending more time in the Word, because it renews me. It means spending time with my kids. It means, for me, making it mandatory to have that work-life balance, because at the end of the day, when you wake up the next day, that business and them clients and all of that still gonna be sitting there waiting. But if you don't take care of yourself, you may not be here. You may not be mentally in a position to take care of people, and it's a lot to give your energy all day long. I mean, when I'm in the salon from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., when I come home, I don't even want to talk to my kids. I'm like, I need to be quiet for an hour. I've given out a lot of energy today. For example, another way that I'm taking care of myself is, although hairstylists work Tuesday through Saturday usually, I've had to switch it up due to my new circumstances, and daycare is open Monday through Friday. So mommy's got to work Monday through Friday. I got to have that Saturday off. And it rubs some clients the wrong way because they're like, how dare you? You're a hairstylist. You should
Right.
be here on Saturdays. I'm like, I can't, I won't. I can't
Don't.
do it. I have to take care of me, or I'm no good from Monday through Friday, So
Mm-hmm.
that's me, educator, mother, singer, songwriter, salon owner, stylist. I do hair as well. Um, and I'm a self-care indulgence. That's my hats. And I try to do a better job at keeping those balanced because I don't have to do everything.
Yeah. Because we,
Yeah.
we we as women, especially as Black women, we feel like we have to do everything. If someone asks us, "Can we do it?" We're like, "Yeah, I can," but let me, we'll figure it out. Even though it's probably something we can't do, but we're gonna try to make it if it's somebody, especially if our families asking us to do something, right? We don't want to tell them no. So
Yeah.
I like that you're a self-care indulgence, and we talk a lot about self-care not being selfish.
It's
Um,
not. It's
it's not.
not.
And I love that you mentioned that because there is a level of balance that we try to have, and I'm terrible at the whole balancing thing. To be honest, I do take on a lot. They laugh at me and they was like, "You're always work." My dad, he says all the time, "You're always working. You're always doing something." And I can't even argue and say, no, I'm not. I'm like, because I am. I really am. I'm always doing something. Same with my husband. He's like, you're doing this and you're doing that. Can you focus? I'm like, okay. So you're a self-indulgence. I self-care indulgence. I am learning to be that. Some days I'm much more successful than others. But now I'm learning to pay attention to me in
Yeah.
you
It
know
takes practice. It takes practice, man. It's hard because you grow up. I don't even know when it happens. I don't know how it happens. But for me, I just learned to take care of the people around me, from my mom to my siblings. Make sure everybody around me is comfortable, and then it'll be a better environment for me to get along in. And so I think for those reasons, I wouldn't say no. If it felt awkward, I'm like, oh, they must be feeling awkward too. Okay, I'll do it.
right.
And then I'm doing it and I'm stressed out the whole time and I'm not
Mhm.
giving you the best version of me, you know. It takes practice. It's I don't know what it is that you gotta keep suppressing over and over and over and over again. I still mess up sometimes and I bite off more than I can chew. And then in those moments, I say, okay, I've done too much. I'm doing too much. I don't want to keep doing too much. What can I
Mhm.
take away? What is optional right now? You know what? Hey, I'm not gonna be at church tomorrow. I ain't coming. I love the Lord, but I'm not gonna be there.
You
Or
know where I'm at.
yeah, I'll be watching y'all online today because then there's the pressure from my family, like, hey, why you not in church today? Da, 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 da. You did it. I ain't coming. I'm gonna see y'all online. I'll be over for dinner later. I love you, but I'm tired. I'm a single mom right now. I got these kids to take care of. My son he's 5, but he's really a 15-year-old in a 5-year-old body. So he's like, well, can we play? You said we was gonna play today at 4:39. It's 4:40. We're a minute late. And I have to say, hey, baby, look, mommy's tired, but I got Saturday picked out just for you. So look, we can sit here and we can watch a movie together, but I don't want to play make believe. I don't want to put your Home Depot project together right now. I'm tired and I'm going to be a cranky mom right now. So you should give me until Saturday.
Right.
So it's practice. These are
I
real
love
life
it.
examples.
Look, I love that. Like, listen, I'm gonna be a cranky mom. Would you rather have a cranky mom playing with you, or would you like to have a mom who wants to have fun with you, kind of thing?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I, I love that. But I, being a healthcare practitioner, we're always giving and giving and giving, right? And one of the
Mm-hmm.
things I have grown to try to stay keep in my mind. And I say it, to everyone that I, engage with. I give a lot of wisdom, but I don't follow my own wisdom.
Okay. Take practice, man.
It takes practice. So one of the things that I'm really starting to adapt into my practice is not giving from my cup directly, giving from the overflow of my cup. Right?
You preaching. You preaching.
Right? Because the overflow is what we're supposed to be giving to others, and what's in our cup is for us. And I've learned that I've been constantly pouring from my cup. And not allowing them to just take the overflow. And if I don't have overflows, like, listen, I ain't got it. Like you said, I'm not going to church today. I ain't got it. There's nothing. I ain't got it. You can sit there and you can see my cup, and I'm glad you could see my cup. You could just give me a little bit off the top. Nope, that's still in my cup.
Sometimes we need them to pour. Sometimes we need people to pour into us. Being strong women, we are nurturers, we are givers, we are lovers, we are huggers. Everything that we do takes energy away from us. And so we're flamingos, right? Yes. Someone gave me a gift basket and she made them pink and put flamingos in them. And she said, I'm giving this to you because you're a flamingo. When flamingos feed and take care of their children and everybody around them, they lose their pink, beautiful color.
Because they're giving all that out.
Yeah, and so she's like, I'm giving this to you to replenish you, to remind you to keep your pink, and it takes practice. It takes hitting our head a couple of times, and for me, like literally physically getting sick when I'm giving too much, and my body just shuts down, and I gotta rest, and then I can't do nothing for 3 or 4 days, But then when I come back, I'm super productive, and I'm like, that's why I need to schedule these breaks on the regular, because if I don't schedule them, my body will schedule it for me, and it will be random and inconvenient.
Of course. Yeah. And that, I think you said it right there. You get sick, right? Your body's gonna make you take a break one way or the other, and we are so adapt to waiting until those moments till our body says, all right, we've had enough.
Yep.
Instead of listening to the cues that our body is giving us, like, all right, you're tired. All right, you're walking in circles. That's when I know I need to just like sit down somewhere when I'm walking in circles. And I'm like, okay, I went in this room 3 times and did nothing. What's happening?
Yeah. Because sometimes the sickness is just mental, right? So you will be walking in circles. You'll be grumpy. You'll be impatient with yourself and with others. And for me, I'll be more snappy and ugly. And I'm like, that's not who I want to be. I got to go to sleep. I need a nap.
Right. And, my husband is so good at taking naps. Oh, my goodness. This man will disappear. And I will go find him, and he's laying down taking a nap. He's like,
that's a good skill set to have.
He's like, nope, I felt myself getting grumpy, and I needed to lay down. So he will disappear and just randomly find a corner. Even like in the event, he would go sit in the car, put his headset on, and he would just chill because he needs to detach for a minute because it becomes overwhelming. And we, I think you're the same in the same empathic realm as well, where we just embrace everyone's energy. And and we talked about this, we can't allow everybody's energy in our space, right? So it's like some energy, especially, my daughter, I talked to her, she's a massage therapist. And she's like, Mom, I had to fire clients because their energy was just not right.
Ooh,
and like, sometimes I had to switch rooms with patients or keep myself distant from certain students because their energy just does not roll with me. and it's hard as an educator, as a healthcare provider to can't really always detach, right? Because those are your students, this is your patient. So you have to find those ways where you lessen the interaction and the space in which you allow them to be in. So I was never like next to them enough to absorb the energy, when it came to me students. But when the patients, I would always have to go back and I would keep like sage and stuff in my locker. And I just I have to salt water and just kind of get their energy off, because it's just like we take it all in and it drains us. So, being that self-care indulgent, that's going to be the word of the day, self-care indulgent.
Yeah, I'm a self-care indulgist. I made that up, but it worked.
Self-care indulgence, I'm going to put that there too. Self-care indulgence.
Yeah, go outside, get some nature. When people are putting the pressure on you, I need a moment to pray and meditate on this. Just give me 10 minutes. You could tell them, give me 10 minutes. I'll be back. Whatever you're going to do until then, that's up to you, but I'll be back. I got to take a minute to think about it, because another thing that kept me from my self-care is I would allow people to almost make decisions for me by backing me into a corner because of what they needed. And they knew that I could do it, and they knew that I was prone to doing stuff for people. But now I'm like, I need a minute to pray on it, and it's mandatory. So you know what? Give me 24 hours. I'll get right back to you. And if they rushing me through that, that's a sign I don't need to do it, because you're trying to hide the fine print anyway, So it takes practice, and it takes getting into some really bad situations to learn your value and how other people need what they need when they need what they need. And maybe they've not gotten at that level of consideration for other people. And so you have to be aware of that, because some foolish people have you in some really foolish positions and have your plate piled over. And yeah, I've learned the hard way. Another way that I've really learned to indulge in self-care is disconnecting from the opinions of others. That has been something I've really had to practice, especially with me being in such high contact with so many people. And I was really, really non-confrontational when I first got into the business scene. And because of that, it got me in some really stressful situations and sleepless nights. So I don't want to experience that no more.
You know what? I have a saying on my wall. It says, your perception of me. What is it? I'm not responsible for the version of me that lives in your head.
Right.
Okay. And it's so true, because we are so prone to being what other people want us to be. And it took me till, the big age of 40 to really start looking into who I am as a person, who I want to be as a person. Yes, I have, a career, I have education, I have children, I've been here and I've done that, but to really sit down with myself and say, who am I? And it took two bad relationships for me to really dive into that.
Wow.
And just say, I'm not going to accept another person's bad behavior, because I'm worthy.
Right? You are worthy. Yes, we are worthy. Right. Yes, yes.
I am worthy. I am worth more. I am enough. And if I'm not enough for you, then go find what's enough for you, because I'm enough.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? It's not even usually that you're not enough. It's usually they just ain't used to handling all that greatness. And they usually downgrade when they move on and do what they going to do, whether it be a business relationship, intimate relationship, or whatever, especially when you got your mind on right and you don't stand for anything,
Sugar and salt look the same.
It does. It sure does look exactly the same.
but don't taste the same. Don't taste the
Nope.
same. So,
Yep.
and then it's those things that we have to learn. And even though the struggles and the trials and tribulations we went through um, were hard. It was a hard storm to
Mhm.
get through. Some
Yeah.
days, we couldn't see past the fog. Some days we had a clear moment, but then it was a complete downpour. But we still navigated and danced through the storm and
Yeah.
came out on top. And we needed that to water the plants that we are, to water our roots for us to grow, to shed those leaves of those lessons that we had learned,
That's
right?
right.
We had to get rid of those leaves. And for that, we needed that water, that nourishment to grow so that we're able to shed those lessons and shine and come out on top the way we have. So
Right.
as I said, my testimony is that, here I am.
Here you
Get ready
are.
to celebrate a 50th birthday. God knows I don't even know.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. The big 50. Um, so it's just those things that, is part of our journey. And we share that with our children. And you'll share this with, you're starting to share this with Michael as he's getting older too, right? He's only the
Yeah.
right age of 5, but he sees it. He sees you. You, the way you communicate with him sets the tone of how he will grow up and how he will communicate as well. So I think, all those things are great, and I did the same thing with my kids. My kids at a young age, I would ask them, how do you feel about things? And people are like, why are you asking them how they feel? Because they have feelings. I
Yeah.
want I take it into consideration. And I remember my my oldest daughter was like, well, you don't understand. And she was like 7 years old, marching up the stairs, and I said, come back here. We're going to talk about this. What is it that you think I do not understand? You know, let's unpack this non-understanding moment that you feel your mother is having at this time.
Right.
And but it helps them, and it helps us to slow down, because we are in this rat race of life. And my husband has to remind me all the time to slow down, take a breather, take a vacation,
Yeah.
take a break, day off. But it reminds us too, when we have these conversations with our kids, is our pause moment. It's our pause, because it helps us get our thoughts together, and it helps them control their emotions better. Um, because I'm sorry, I don't want somebody in the streets trying to teach my kids things,
Yeah.
you know, because what they teach them is not what I'm going to teach them. That's not the foundation that I want them to have. And I see the foundation that you have for your babies, and he is such a love. I only spent a short moment with him, but he's just a cutie pie.
Yeah.
He's a busy soul, and I love watching it because I have my grandson now, and I get to see him grow up. I get to see my daughter be a mom, and it's
Mhm.
so beautiful to watch. And you know, I just I don't think we take those pause moments enough with everything that we have. So I love that you're taking those pauses for
Oh
yourself
yeah.
and for the babies. Yeah.
Hmm. I wanted them. I wanted my children, and I got them. So I need not act like they are accessories.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's what I think. I wanted my kids. I wanted my girls, and I love them to pieces. And they weren't accessories. They weren't.
Mhm.
They were
Yeah.
parts of me, and I was a reflection for them, and they are a reflection of me. So
Right.
we're going to mirror those reflections, right? So I love that.
That's right.
I love that,
Absolutely.
you have that structure, you have that for them. And they're going to be the joys, their continued joys in your life.
Thank
The reason
you.
you smile, the reason you smile and do all the things that you do in the community, because it's making a better
Mhm.
community for them as well. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I
showing them
love
that.
community. I love community.
Yeah.
You know, I like going places and knowing people. I
Mm,
like being able to be a resource to my clients. I think that that makes for a stronger business. Because people do business with people that they have relationships with, so it gives you an opportunity to have those associations, so to speak, so that a mechanic to reach out to.
mhm,
Somebody that does painting, and that painter or handyman knows a hairstylist, or oh, you don't know how to do hair. She teaches about hair too, or and your products. And I know somebody that has some really good skincare products for you, and they're natural, and you're local. So we
mhm.
won't know if we don't get out and get to know each other. So I think community is a great, great, great thing, when we utilize it properly and love and respect each other.
Yeah, and I agree because look, I met our real estate agent in your shop.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
Which one?
Pam Chambers. You were doing her
That's
daughter
right.
Maya's hair.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
See, it works.
you know,
See, connections that count.
community connections that count. And then you're bringing, I love that you're bringing back the old school way we used to use our barbershops and hair salons. It was the
Mm-hmm.
community hub, right? If you
It is.
needed something, you knew the hair salon or the barbershop can get you what you need
Yeah,
or
yeah,
point
we
you in
take
the
care of our
direction.
babies. What was that last part you said?
I said, or find it, or make that connection, or connect you to it in some
Yeah.
manner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We share communication with our babies, and, take care of our children just by default together by sharing information, what's going on at the schools, what
Mhm.
your baby is learning at your school. We try to support other hairstylist services that we don't offer, or when we are booked up. I'm a firm believer that there's enough to go around for everybody, so I don't have to try to hog all the clients that come through. And I'm going to send you to who can do it best for you. And it's always in my hopes that they're going to give them the same love and respect that we do, but it don't always happen that way. But I always give a disclaimer when I refer them out, like, look, this ain't Melvira's. They handle stuff differently, but they may be able to get you into that. you know
Right.
um, Community is a good thing. Community is a good thing. I can't see a bad thing about community. Having good community allows you to know the dangers within the community,
Yes.
who not to have your children around, what and the negatives could be endless. We ain't gonna get into that, but
Mhm.
we help each other stay safe and stay aware. For example, amongst the hair salons, when state board comes to town and we have a certain set of standards that we have to have in the salon, when one of us get hit up by state board, I'm calling sophisticated hair by Ashley, like, girl, you better get your stuff together. State board in town, you know.
Right.
So we look out for each other. For me, I haven't bought clothes for my son. I do hand me downs,
Hmm.
I can't remember the last time I maybe brought 5 new outfits for my son in the past year. And then I take those clothes and I ask around to my clients, and I pass those boy clothes down that way, and so on for my little girl, and pass them on to family members. So it's just about taking care of each other. Food is expensive now. So,
Hmm.
I share information about Rising Stars Bright Star, where people can come and get a box of food almost every Sunday. A lot of different churches do it on. I feel like there's no need for nobody to be hungry in Tucson. There's so many churches
Yes.
providing fresh produce and food for people that if you knew the date of each one, you could go and get a box every other week and be taken care of for the month. And, we're graced to be able to have those opportunities because of community, because people are struggling.
Yes. The price of food is rising, and now the prices of clothes, everything is just going up. And
Yeah.
people, I would share those community resources, and these kids don't realize what is actually going on because they have their parents putting the bill for a lot of different things. So when I'm in the classroom and I share like things like Borderlands, and the fruit and produce that they have, and when they can go and do that, and the different churches and things, they're like, oh, I don't need that. I don't need that. And it's like, you
You
may
never
not
know when you
know,
will.
but you may know somebody else. Just share the information. They'll turn
Mm,
a few of them will turn their nose up, but then I'll get a couple of them that'll come and say, thank you for the information. I
yeah.
say, you're
Yeah.
welcome. I said, it's, but we have such a stigma when we are in need that no one wants to take advantage. No one, like you said, no one should be going home hungry. No one.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
No.
enough to go around for all of us.
Yes. It's like we got a bag of groceries in my house right now that I'm like, who can we give this to?
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it just shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. And we have resources. So I love that, you are a part of the community. You're sharing resources. It's just, it's great. And I thank you for your time, for spending time with me. Oh my gosh.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You are awesome. So we got a couple of events that you're going to be at. June 1st, you got the career fair going on, right? At the salon.
At the hair salon, it'll be from 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay. And then you have June 14th, the Gospel Jubilee.
Yep, it's the Juneteenth Gospel Jubilee. They do it every year. It'll be 2 p.m. at the Pima West Presidium Theater.
Oh, so I'm gonna miss it because I'll be at Keno for the Juneteenth the fair. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Keno.
That's all
But
right.
that's all right. And then you got your birthday party January 19th,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The color is light blue. Light blue.
Light
Okay.
blue for clear skies.
All right. I have them all. I'm gonna put them on my calendar. But yes. So yes, thank you. Send me the flyers when you get them so I can post them on the website as well. That you want to share
Okay.
for your events. And yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And guys, if you are in Tucson, please come down and visit Melvira. She's got some skills. She's not the only. Listen, I didn't do my due diligence. Let me back up a little bit, okay? I didn't do this, and I was supposed to do this. So I'm going to go to your website because I had on there to go to your website. So I'm going to go to your website and let me see if I can find it. It's here. There you are. Oh, I know why, because I didn't do it in that one. See, when you have me, I was telling somebody else, they were like, your podcast, who does all your stuff? I'm like, me, I'm the power of one. What is it talking about? There's no background staff. I wish I had background staff here doing all this, doing this for me. I am a power team of one until my daughter comes and visits. Yeah, I have. Do you rent out? You rent the booths, right? But
Currently, we're
do you
doing
have
booth rental.
space for individuals that come as far as visiting? visiting like estheticians or massage therapists or anything like that?
We do. Now, you mentioned estheticians and massage
Mhm.
therapists. We do. However, we got to keep in mind it's a hair salon environment. So we be kikiing and cackling. And then we have music playing, and we have people in and out coming in and trying to get their hair done. So, what I have found is that sometimes it's not if they're looking for like a type of relaxing environment where it's quiet and somber, that's not it,
Mhm.
you know. But if they're okay with a little bit of laughter in the air, then yeah, we definitely do have space.
Okay. Um, I meant to ask that question because sometimes there are those opportunities to have, you know, a visitor come in. So I didn't know if that was a possibility for
Yeah, yeah, that is.
for
And
you.
if they're interested, they can just contact me directly at 520-409-8837. I'll send them an email with some information and we'll get it set up. They'll Zelle their deposit for the daily booth rental, and then they'll get a code to the front door to come in and utilize the space. And we'll take it from there. Typically on Mondays and Sundays is a little more quiet. We do have one or two hair braiders that come to town. And when they come to town, they come and they rent a booth to do their clients that they have here because they used to live here. And then they go back out and we don't see them again for another 6 months. And so we
Oh
do have
wow.
those opportunities at least until we fill those spaces with long-term rentals.
Okay. All right. So that's good to know. I'll talk to you more about that too. But um, I always like to share whether or not we have those opportunities in the area, especially, people have family members who visit and it's like, yeah, I can go do some hair for a couple of days or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that one from, was it tattoo artists that have visiting tattoo artists that come in and um,
Yeah.
come visit at the shop and do a couple of tattoos and and then go back home or whatever. Um,
I didn't even think
so that
about that. That's a good one. Tattoo artist.
hmm yeah, they can come in and rent the space for a short period and do some tattoos
Okay,
during that
yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that. So here are the other stylists that are there. I figured it out. Look at those beautiful faces, and they all. I'm telling you, they're all lovely individuals. Um, so just in case you were wondering, yes, she does regular hair. So yes, please, make an appointment. You take deposits, right?
Just for our first time customers until we establish a relationship with you. And then after that, you don't have to worry about a deposit unless it's a really big service.
Okay. So there you are. But there's Melvira's hair studio and their beautiful faces. Love you guys. You're awesome. Um, so yes, so I'm going to definitely continue to share. We're going to share all this lovely information because that's how we do. We
That's how
we
we do.
how we do, and we are all about community and sharing and getting what we need because as you can see they're changing us from being in the community and dividing us and we will not be divided. Okay, we will not.
Absolutely not.
So thank you so much again for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and do my spiel. I'm going to put you in the green room and then don't leave me just yet.
Okay.
Any last words before we go?
Thank you for having me. We're accepting new clients at Melvira's Hair Studio. You can go to melvirashairstudio.com or you can call us at 520-721-3133. And if you need a singer for your wedding, for your funeral, for your family event, you can text or call me at 520-409-8837, and I would be happy to do my best to accommodate you.
Amen. There you go. And she has a beautiful voice. Heard it this weekend. So there we are. You don't have to take my word for it, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be here and talk with us and share about our love for everything hair and how we, we are who we are through our hair, and that's our expression. That's how we get things done, and that's how we are seen. That's how we are identified. And yeah, India Irie said, "I am not my hair, but my hair is me."
That's
My
right.
hair is me. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you, and we will be in touch.
All right.
So yes, thank you so much. I appreciate Dee for taking her time out and just hanging out with us for a short period of time. So if you guys are in the Tucson area, please stop on by, and I'll have all of her contact information up on the website as well. So as we were saying, continue to take care of yourself and each other. As they say on the airplane, you can't put that oxygen mask on for you first before you go oxygenating other people. And y'all stop giving out of your cup. That overflows for everybody, not what's in your cup. So take care of yourself and each other. Namaste, guys.